Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namami buddham gunasagarantam santa sada hontu sukhiya veram kayo jinguncho sakalo dugandho gaccanti sabbe maranam nahanca namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa dittinca anupagamma silava dassanena sampanno kāmesu vinayagedam nahi jātu gambaseyang punareti. Homage to the Blessed One, the Worthy One, the perfectly enlightened One. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear friends in Dhamma, here today we are going to discuss one of the very special discourse in Buddhism, Karaniya Metta Sutta, the discourse of loving kindness. This is a very important topic that every day we chant this discourse. I think everyone knows this discourse, but we usually don't pay our attention to the meaning of this discourse. If we can understand this discourse, actually we can understand how we develop our personality. The qualities that we should develop in our character are here. I think, according to my understanding, this is the Buddhist anthem. This is the Buddhist anthem. This is a very important discourse. Before we are going to discuss this discourse, I would like to explain the gradual path in Buddhism because we have some kids here. Okay? First, we respect you. Therefore, I am going to explain the primary teachings in Buddhism. When we discuss Buddhism, actually, entire Buddhism is the purity of our mind. Buddhism means how we purify our mind. On the other side, Buddhism means how we respect our life. And also, Buddhist teachings means the way how we purify our mind. It should be happened in a gradual path. All Buddhist doctrines deepens gradually, like the ocean. The ocean gradually deepens. It doesn't suddenly go to the deeper level. From the beach, the ocean gradually deepens. Buddhism also like that. Therefore, everyone can understand. Everyone can practice some kind of teachings in Buddhism according to their age, according to their intelligence. Actually, Buddhism doesn't care the age. Why is that? Age is not a very important thing. Usually, people think their age, their physical age. But Buddhism doesn't care the physical age. Buddhism always emphasizes the, yes, not only mental age, but the spiritual age. Very good, you understand, it's good. Age, as I mentioned last week, age can be divided into three. One of them is physical age, according to our birth certificate. The second age is mental age. What is the meaning of mental age?
How the mind works.
Yes, how we think, that our age. Sometimes, some person, even though he is 16, he may think that he is 40 or 50. Sometimes there are some people, although they are 60, they think they are 30. That is their mental age. The spiritual age is different. Spiritual age means the age of our wisdom. How far we have gone forward in our spirituality. The age of our wisdom. Sometimes our physical age is very low, but our spiritual age is very high. It means how far we are clever to understand the Buddha's message. When Buddha meets a person, Buddha thinks there are two things. What they are? As soon as the Buddha meets a person, Buddha thinks, Buddha concerns, first, how long he can live, his age. The second one is how far he have developed his wisdom in his previous lives. These things that Buddha concerns when he meet a person. And also here, we are going to explain the gradual path in Buddhism. When we discuss Buddha's message, first Buddha explained how we succeed this life. That is very important. Even though some people don't believe their past life or future life, everyone believes this life. Everyone needs to succeed this life. Therefore, Buddhism has explained a lot of teachings that how we succeed this immediate life. When we are going to succeed this life, Buddha explained we have succeed 4 areas in our life. What they are? In this life, when we are going to succeed this life, we should be skillful in 4 areas. What they are? The first one is education. Day by day we should go forward in education. Not only we should be qualified in subjects, but we should be qualified in languages. Not only in verbal languages, but we should be qualified in sign language too. That is also very important. Especially you should be qualified in ASL. What is that? Yes, American Sign Language. That is very important. There are a lot of intelligent people who are deaf. There are a special university in Washington only for deaf people. They can study from first degree to doctorate in sign language. They can learn any language, any subject, because they are so intelligent. They can communicate anything through their signs. Education is very important. The second one is economy. We should earn money righteously. according to what we learned, what we studied. The third one is health. Health also very important. If we are unhealthy, everything what we earned is useless. Buddhism emphasizes not only physical health but mental health too. Both of them are very important. Fourth one is morality. We should have good discipline. Especially, according to Buddhism, we should have good discipline in our speech and behavior. These four areas are very important. Everyone who needs to succeed this life should go forward on this path. A lot of teachings we can see in Buddhism how we succeed in these four areas. There are a lot of discourses such as Singalovada Sutta, Mangala Sutta. There Buddha explained how we succeed this life in these four areas. Okay? That is the first one. The second one, not only we succeed in our education and economy, but little by little we should go to the deeper level. That Buddha says how we succeed hereafter, next life. There Buddha says 3 meritorious deeds. They are Dana, Sila and Bhavana. Dana means generosity, Sila means virtue or moral conduct, and meditation means Bhavana. This depends on conventional truth. That is very important. Mr. Pranando, here we are going to explain another thing. In this way, we think that there is something outside. Still we are in the conventional truth. You know, not only Buddhism explains this reality, but some other religions also have explained this path. But the difference in Buddhism is that the other one is the spiritual path or deliverance path. Here, Buddha explained how we overcome suffering, how we win this life, this moment, how we overcome suffering. There Buddha explained the 3 disciplines. They are Sila, virtue, Samadhi means concentration, and wisdom, Panya. This is very important. This depends on the conventional truth. Everyone can understand this one. In this understanding, we think there is something outside. What we experience as it is. It is true only this level. But when we go to the deeper level, we experience something according to our present mental condition. When our present mental condition changes, the experience, what we experience through our senses immediately ceases, immediately changes. This is a deep concept in Buddhism. This is the gradual path in Buddhism. When we think Buddha's message, Buddha says the qualities of the Buddha, qualities of the Dhamma. You know what are the qualities of the Dhamma? There are 6 qualities of what we Buddha taught. There are 6 qualities about what Buddha taught. Swakhato Bhagavata Dhammo. The Dhamma is well expounded by the Supreme One. Swakhato. Visible results. Akaliko. immediately affect you. Ehipassiko, it means calling one to come and see. Opanaiko, leading onwards. Pacchattangetitabbo, it means personally realized by the wise. It should be personally realized by the wise. I think all of you are wise. You can understand. Here, in short, what Buddha said is the purity of our mind, the purity of our heart, the way how we purify our mind. Here we should understand there are three unwholesome mental states that disturb our peace of mind. They are, anger, greed and delusion. The more we overcome these negative thoughts, the more we are happy. The more we are happy, the more we are successful in our life. Here especially we are going to discuss the discourse of loving kindness, Metta Sutta. First of all, we should know the reason why Buddha explained, why Buddha taught this discourse to monks. In Buddha's time, the nature of monks that first of all they come to the Buddha and they asked the message of the Buddha, then they go to the jungle, so forest, and they meditate and they get results. That is the nature of monks when Buddha appeared in the world. Like that. There were some monks who were meditating in a jungle. While they were meditating, some deities who were in the upper level disturbed these monks. They tried to live in the same place again and again, but they couldn't stay there by practicing meditation. Finally, they decided to go to Buddha. And when they went to Buddha, they explained their problem. And they told that, Bhante, Gautama, there are some disturbances when we meditate. We saw some impure visions. We saw some bad sounds. We think that someone is disturbing us. Then Buddha understood the reason. And Buddha taught this discourse to those monks. And Buddha said, please chant this discourse while you are meditating in the jungle and you stay in the same place. You don't go to another place. The proper place that you were there is that. And please go again to that place and by chanting this sutta or discourse, not only chanting but practicing this chanting and meditate, and then you can get the results. According to Buddha's advice, the monks learned this discourse near the Buddha and they went to the same place in the jungle near the Himalaya. Here, this sutta, actually, it is a discourse for protection. This is a protection discourse. What is the protection? When we chant this discourse, we have a protection from invisible powers, invisible beings. Even though we are alive, we are visible, there are some invisible powers, invisible beings like ghosts in this universe. Sometimes they disturb us when we go in the spiritual path. Here, Buddha says, if you chant this discourse, you can overcome those problems. And according to Buddha's advice, these monks went to the same place and they chanted this discourse again and again. When they chanted this discourse, actually they could overcome that problem. Not only that, those devas, invisible beings, helped these monks. And also they succeeded their meditation. Finally, they attained enlightenment and they came to the Buddha. When we discuss this discourse, actually this is the discourse for protection from other beings, and also this is a blessing discourse. That is why when you gather to the temple, we chant this discourse for blessing upon you. And also not only blessing discourse, not only protection discourse, but this discourse explains the clear path from the beginning to end on the path of liberation. This sutta, this discourse guides us to go forward on the spiritual path. Not only that, the very, very important thing, this is the discourse that explains us how we create a perfect personality. When you learned sociology, psychology, philosophy, there you can learn some qualities that you should practice to make a good personality. All those qualities can be included in this discourse. Buddha explained the qualities very clearly when we go to make a perfect personality. We can understand what kind of good qualities that we should develop in our life. Now, we are going to discuss this discourse. That is very interesting discourse. Buddha says, Karaniya matta kusalena yantan santam padang abhisamecca sakko ujocha sujocha suvacho chasya mudvan pimani. He who is skilled in doing good and who wishes to attain that state of calm, he should be skillful, upright, perfectly upright, gently spoken, gentle and humble. If we want to go on the path of liberation, not only liberation, if you want to gain the peace of mind, if you want to attain the peace of mind, if you want to become a peaceful life, you should have these qualities. What they are? The first thing is skillfulness. What is the skillfulness? Skillfulness can be applied to everywhere. But here, what is the skillfulness that you should create in your life? Yes, you should have an ability to control your mind from negative thoughts. That is the place that you can show your skillfulness. Even though you are well educated, even though you are very rich, even though you are very strong and beautiful, if someone can disturb you, if someone can disturb your peace of mind, it means everything that you earned is useless. That is why Buddha says, you should be clever to protect your mind. You should take care of your mind. That is the skillfulness that Buddha has explained first. Then, ujucha, you should be honest. Honesty is another quality. What is the honesty? Honesty means, especially, you should tell truth. That is very important. What we do, that what we should say. What we say that what should do. That is the first step of honesty. Again, Buddha says, sujucha. It means again, Buddha emphasizes the importance of being honest. That is why Buddha says, upright. Sujucha. It means, it has a deep meaning. Whatever you do something, you should understand why I do these things. When we do these kind of activities in our life, whether my greed, conceit and self-view increase or decrease. When you wear a cloth, when you clean your body, when you buy a house, car or something, everywhere. If you want to live peacefully, you should think whether I do these activities, these things in my life, whether my greed, conceit and self-view increase or decrease. This is the place where we should be honest. That is also very important. The third one, Sappo Ujuja Sochucha Socha. Socha is a very important quality. What is the socha? The surface meaning of socha is obedience. Obedience means whatever someone say or advise, that we do. It is a very common meaning, but when we go to the deeper level, it means gently spoken. You should be gently spoken. It means when someone says something, you should have good attention that what he says. That is a good quality. Even though you have a lot of mistakes, misbehaviors in your life, if you are ready to listen to someone, it means you are ready to correct those misbehaviors. That is the highest quality according to what Buddha taught. Now you have that quality. That is why you are here. It means you are ready to go forward, not only your spiritual life, but in education and other ways you can go forward. You show that your quality, that you can go forward in the maximum level because of this quality. Gently spoken, for good attention, for paying attention. That is a quality. Again, Mudu. Mudu means be gentle. We should be flexible and also humble, anatimani. These are the qualities. Little by little, Buddha explained the qualities. Again, the next stanza, Buddha says, Santussa kocha subarocha appakichocha sallahuti Santindriyocha niprakocha appagabbuho kulesu ananukiddo. Santusta kocha. We should be satisfied with what we have already earned. It doesn't mean that we should not earn more. Actually, we can earn more and more righteously. It is not a problem in Buddhism, but we should be satisfied with what we have already earned. But mostly people, they think that their happiness will be tomorrow. That tomorrow never comes until you die. Again and again you think the better day in the future. But that future never comes. We should be happy in this day, in this moment. Then our entire life is successful. Next one, Santussa kocha subarocha, easily supportable. We have an ability to live any place with few facilities. When we are at home, if we say our parents, that I need these things again and again. If we say, it means we don't have this quality. We should have some disciplines. Even though we need some things, we should have self-discipline in our life. It means easily supportable. That means anybody likes to live with us. If we have this quality, our friends, our relatives, actually they like us. The reason is they think that we are not a problem for them. That is why they like us. They are happy to live with us with this quality. Next one, appakicchocha sallahoka vutti. Appakiccha means with few duties. Actually, in this age, we have to do a lot of things. It doesn't matter. But when we go on the liberation, on deliverance path, we should limit our duties. We should give the priority to our important things in our life. That is emphasized here. And again, simple in livelihood. We should be simple. We should have an ability to live with few things in our life. That is also a quality. Again, Buddha says, appagabbo santindriyocha nipakocha. Santindriya means discipline in our senses. Whatever we see, whatever we hear, whatever we smell, whatever we taste, we should have a self-discipline. If we don't have this discipline, we run here and there, finding these facilities. Having a good discipline in our speech, also a good quality that Buddha says that we should develop in our life as a person who has a perfect personality. Then Buddha says, appagabho kuleswananukiddo. Not stubborn, not greedily attached to families. Even though we have family members, our parents, children, siblings, and we should not have big attachment. It doesn't mean that we should not do our duties. While we are doing our daily duties, we should overcome, we should reduce big attachment. It is also a quality that Buddha explained here. Then, gradually Buddha says, Nacha kuddam samachare kinchi yena vinyo pare upavadeyum. This is a very highest quality. We should be very careful not to do any small mistake that wise people criticize. Even though we do some good deeds, some people may criticize us. We should not care it. Because sometimes they are jealous. That is why they criticize us. But here, we should pay our attention whether wise people, wise and kind people criticize us. That is very important. Here Buddha says, he should not commit any slight wrong so that other wise men might criticize. With these qualities, these are the qualities here we discuss, 14 qualities. If we have these 14 qualities, it means we have a very good personality. And also it shows that we are ready to go on this path. With these qualities, Buddha says, actually here, with these 4 qualities, Buddha explained the first step in spiritual life. What is that? In these qualities, Buddha explained the first discipline on deliverance path. What is that? Sila or virtue. And these 14 qualities can be summarized in 3 qualities. What they are?
Sila, dana.
Yes, those are the 3 meritorious deeds. Here, we took everything in a particular field, that these 14 qualities are included in sila or virtue. And also these 14 qualities again can be summarized into 3. They are, even though we have 14 qualities, finally we have only 3 qualities. Among these 14 qualities, we can choose, we can separate 3 qualities. That is why I emphasized. They are honesty and gently spoken, proactive listening, and intelligence. Intelligence also is discussed among these 14 qualities. Even though we have 14 qualities that Buddha explained to practice, finally we should have only 3 qualities. They are honesty, active listening, intelligence. If we have these 3 qualities, it means other qualities follow them. And with these qualities, Buddha explained the second level in this discourse, that the importance of practicing loving kindness. Practicing loving kindness says the second step of spiritual path, that concentration or samatha. It means practicing loving kindness. Buddha has explained here several instances, the way how we practice loving kindness. He who wishes to attain peace of mind should have to practice loving kindness. There are a lot of benefits when we practice loving kindness. Sometimes we have a lot of problems when we associate with our friends at school or at home. If we are kind, if we are compassionate, actually we are ready to forgive them. It means we don't get angry suddenly. We should have good quality that when others are trying to get upset us, then we create an unshaken mind. We check our personality. The place where we can check our personality is that others blame or disturb us. If we don't know the Buddha's message, when someone blames you, suddenly we get upset. But after you study this discourse, when someone disturbs you, you are very happy. Why? That is the time that you can check your personality, your loving kindness. Here the place you practice loving kindness, that at your school, when your friends or relatives disturb you, you may not get angry, because you know very well, if you get angry, you are suffering. It means you have no real happiness. When somebody does something, if you get angry, you have no happiness, you are suffering, because at the moment our mind is filled with anger. And the place where we can test our personalities that others blame or disturb us. Here, if we want to face these challenges without suffering, we should have a very strong mind by practicing loving kindness. The Buddha says here, we should practice loving kindness in 4 postures: sitting, walking, standing, lying down. In 4 postures, we can practice it. May all beings be well, happy and peaceful. May all beings be well, happy and peaceful. Again and again we think. Then when you go on the street, you may think that the other people who are around you like your friends. You have no problems with them. Even though they have some mistakes, you are always ready to forgive them. And with this understanding, we can get a lot of benefits by practicing loving kindness. According to Buddhism, practicing loving kindness is the highest technique that we can develop our spirituality in the mundane level. According to Buddhism, there are 3 meritorious deeds, as you said, Dana, Sila, Bhavana. Bhavana is the highest merit. Here, in the mundane level, the highest merit that we can generate in our mind is practicing loving kindness. If we are always practicing loving kindness, it means we are generating positive thoughts. At that time, we can overcome some negative results according to our previous actions. That is a very good benefit in our life. Here, as the result of practicing loving kindness, what is the highest attitude of practicing loving kindness? Mata yataniyam puttam. When we meet a person, we think that person as our only son or daughter. If we have this highest attitude, actually we have overcome a lot of stress from our mind. We have no problems in our mind because of this loving kindness. Next, the very important step that we are going. This is the place now you are showing your skills. The 3rd level. Dittincha anupagamma silava dassanena sampanno kamesu vinaya gedahang nahi jatu gabbaseyam punarititi. Now Buddha explained the highest discipline in Buddhism. What is that? Wisdom. Buddha says, Dittincha anupagamma silava. Without going to wrong views, a person should be virtuous. He should have moral discipline. What is the extremes? What is the wrong views? Here, be very sensitive here. According to Buddhism, there are 2 wrong views. There are 2 views. What they are? One of them is, some people think that there is a world. If there is something outside, that is one of the extremes or wrong view. Here we are discussing the highest attitude in Buddhism. Don't misunderstand. Now we don't discuss your education or your ordinary day-to-day life. Now we are going to explain the highest attitude that we should develop as a person who wishes to attain peace of mind. Now we have overcome mundane level here. In this level, we are discussing the highest step in Buddhism. In the primary level, we think there is something outside. When we study, when we associate others, even when we practice loving kindness meditation, we think that there is someone outside. It is true, but according to only conventional truth. But here, we are going to overcome those extremes. If we think there is something outside, it is an extreme. If we think there isn't something, that is also an extreme. Both of them are extremes. Buddha says, when you see the arising of five aggregates, you never go to the extreme that there isn't something. When you see the arising of your five aggregates, whatever you experience through your senses, actually our life is like an iceberg. This is the iceberg. This is the ocean world. Our life is like that. It means this is our experience, what we see through our senses. Forms, smells, sounds, these are the things that which are over the water. What is the deeper level? Deeper level we have five aggregates. Rupa, Vedana, Sanya, Sankhara, Vijnana. They are invisible. We should see these things by our wisdom, by our intelligence, according to what we learn from Buddhism. You know, other people, when we experience something, they are looking outside. But we Buddha's followers, when we experience something, we look at inside. What happens to my mind? When a very small kid is playing here, you look at what he is doing. But if you are intelligent, what you do? You think, what happens to my mind when I see this kid? That is the difference. Then you don't suffer and you don't depend on that person. And like that, when we experience something, quickly, very soon, we look at inside. Like that. This is the vision in the highest level. And Buddha says, when you understand the arising of five aggregates, such as when you are listening to this sound, you never say that there is no sound. And also, when you see the cessation of this sound, you never see that there is this sound, because now it is over. But again, when conditions are together, we can create this sound. Therefore, we never say that there is this sound or there isn't this sound. When conditions are together, the experience arises. When conditions cease, the experience ceases. This is the highest teaching in Buddhism. Yes, dependent origination. Impermanence. The place that you can see your intelligence is that understanding impermanence. Understanding impermanence is the point of view in Buddhism. Understanding impermanence is the place that you can show your spiritual age. What is the impermanence that Buddha says? It is not just changing. Changing can be realized by anyone. It is very easy to understand. But impermanence means the experience that you have at the moment through your senses. That experience arises at the moment. That experience didn't come to the present from the past. The experience that you receive at the moment will not go to future from the present. The experience arises with the conditions at the moment that ceases immediately when conditions cease. With this understanding, we don't go to these extremes that thinking there is something or there isn't something. It means we don't depend on outside. Buddha says, Dittincha anupagamma silava. Without going these extremes, Buddha explained a very special path, that Majjhima Patipada, the middle path. Middle path is this one. This is the middle path, Pranando. Middle path is the very important topic in Buddhism. When you study Buddhism, among the doctrines of Buddhism, middle path is the very important advice, very important topic in Buddhism. When we discuss middle path, some people think that if you do something in the middle way, that is middle path. If you take some little drinks, it is the middle path. Actually, that is not the middle path that would explain. If you eat a very small thing, if you use very small facilities, it is good. That's the middle path that Buddha explained. Some people say that. Actually, that is not the middle path. Middle path is here. Middle path means we don't go to the extremes that thinking there is something or there isn't something. If we think something that there is something, it is an extreme. If we think there isn't something, that's also an extreme. Our point of view should be in this understanding. Then we never say that there is something or there isn't something. When we experience something, this is our world. This is our present experience. According to your present mental condition, you can see these people, human beings here. When your mind changes, immediately your senses change. Then you can see many beings here than these human beings. Now, according to these present mental conditions, we see only human beings here. We see only human realm. When our mind changes, automatically our senses like eye, ear, nose, these things change. Now you can see a beautiful hall here. If your mind changes, automatically your experience changes. For example, when you drive in a very luxurious vehicle, if you think the facilities of your vehicle, at the moment you are happy. But at the same time, if you think someone who has blamed you, then you can't experience the facilities of your vehicle. Your mind is struggling with that person. While you are having facilities physically, mentally you are suffering. But if you can change your mind, Even though you live in a very small house with few facilities, you can think, I am living in a very big house with a waterfall, with a lot of flowers. Actually, then we can live in a very big house with many facilities. When mind changes, automatically our vision changes. But ordinary people work hard for having some facilities, but even though they spend a lot of money for their facilities, actually they don't get the benefits from those facilities. If we are intelligent, if we have mindfulness, we can have many benefits with few facilities. And here it is very important in the middle path. Middle path means that we never say that there is something or there isn't something. And both of them are extreme. And if we want to find this path, we should listen to the dependent origination. Dependent origination means patisampada or causality, cause and effect, arising and ceasing of our experience or the understanding of impermanence. Understanding impermanence helps us to understand the dependent origination. Understanding dependent origination helps us to understanding impermanence. Understanding dependent origination helps us to understand the middle path. As soon as we understand the middle path, we are hurried to go on this path. Why is that? If we have no this understanding vision, and if we don't practice this path, we have to suffer. When other things and persons change, we have to suffer, we have to cry, we have to get upset. That is why we are hurried to overcome suffering. Whenever we don't have this understanding, even though we have a lot of facilities, we are like an ox, like whose skin is removed without killing him. Buddha says, there is an ox whose skin is removed, but he is still alive. That ox has a lot of sufferings because his skin is removed. We are also like that. Whenever we are without this understanding, whenever we are away from mindfulness at the moment, even though we have a lot of facilities, even though we have a lot of money, even though we are well educated, we are like that ox whose skin is removed. Still he is living. And that is why while we are studying, while we are doing jobs, while we are fulfilling our day-to-day duties, we should give to the priority to practice this path. And little by little, all Buddhist doctrines and can be underlined, can be included in two ways. That one thing is practicing loving kindness. The other one is practicing wisdom. All Buddhist doctrines can be included in these areas. In one side, the way Buddha explained how we develop our spirituality maximum level in the mundane level. This is the mundane level spirituality. And this is the supramundane level, reflecting on impermanence. In one side, we should think, may all beings be well, happy and peaceful again and again. We should think. That is the way how we can generate our positive thoughts to the maximum level in the mundane level.
That would be the samadhi.
Yes, samadhi. When we practice samadhi, at the moment we don't feel other sufferings. We can live like gods, like a Brahma. Buddha says here, if someone can practice the wisdom without going to extremes, that person never comes to this sensual world, and he will never come to a womb. And he may attain enlightenment in this life, or if he can't attain enlightenment in this life, he will be reborn in the Brahma realm. He will appear in the Brahma realm and he will attain enlightenment there. But he never comes to the womb, mother's womb. The reason is that his point of view is very high, without going to extremes, that thinking there is something or there isn't something. And whenever we have this understanding in the highest level, at the moment, our mind doesn't depend on outside. It means we have overcome very severe challenges in our life. What are the severe challenges in our life? Suffering. What are the sufferings? What are the sufferings? One of them is aging or decay. And the second one is death and rebirth. These are the biggest challenges in our life. Others can be overcome. But we are unable to overcome these challenges without this path. If you have money, you can overcome some sufferings of your illnesses. But we can't overcome these challenges if you are educated or very rich. Even though you are very rich or well educated, you can never overcome these challenges. This is the path. This is the point of view that Buddha explained to overcome these challenges. Because that when we think this understanding, when we reflect on impermanence, at the moment our mind is not fixed any material things. Our mind doesn't depend even our physical body. If our mind is fixed in physical body, it means we are not away from suffering of our aging and decay, aging and death. Whenever we have this understanding reflecting on impermanence, at the moment we completely depend on wisdom. We think only arising and ceasing of our five aggregates. At the moment our mind has no space to suffer. Completely we are in this understanding. For that, we should give the priority to realize, achieve this understanding. For that, I wish you all the best. Have you any question? Today we discussed the Karaniyametta Sutta. If we can practice this path with about 14 qualities, with loving kindness and with this understanding, it means we can make an unshaken mind. That is the highest personality. That is the real personality that we should create in our life according to what Buddha taught. Buddha says, dwell with yourself as an island, with as a refuge, with no other refuge. Dwell with the Dhamma as an island, with the Dhamma as a refuge, with no other refuge. Even though we have a lot of friends, some material things, one day they are subject to decay. They are subject to change. If we trust in outside persons and things, it means we are ready to cry someday. Buddha's message is to overcome our suffering. And we are so fortunate because you have a chance to listen in this message, other people in the world, even though they are very rich, even though sometimes they are very educated, they have no chance to listen to this message. That is why sometimes, even though some educated people do some very highest experiments with many educators, they discover of very few things. Last days, as I mentioned you, that before, Harvard College, they have done a research doing that for 75 years. They researched that the reason of suffering, why people are suffering end of their life. They think that according to their experiment, their research, the reason is that loneliness. Loneliness is the cause of suffering, according to their research. They may think that if we don't have a person to talk, we are suffering. They think that if they don't have friends or relatives in their life, especially end of their life, they are suffering, they are unhappy. Why is that? They think that their happiness comes from outside. When others are around them, when others give some facilities to them, they can be happy. They completely depend on outside. But according to Buddhism, what Buddha says, loneliness is the highest wish of a spiritual person. It means noble loneliness. They think that when they haven't friends and relatives around them, they are suffering. But according to Buddhism, when we go to the highest level in spirituality, our happiness depends on that if we don't have others. Being alone is the highest vision, highest wish of a spiritual person. But having a lot of friends and relatives around them is the wish of a common, ordinary person.
That's the normal thing people think.
Yes. Ordinary people think that...
Many say that's loneliness.
Yes. Their suffering depends on loneliness. A spiritual person's happiness depends on loneliness. It is completely different. Buddha says, when someone develops his mind to the maximum level, then he is happy when he hasn't other people. He likes to live lonely. But here, ordinary people, they think that their happiness depends on outside people. You can understand the difference between Buddhism and other point of views. Here we are so lucky. We should have an ability to make an unshaken mind by practicing this path. We know very clearly the path. We need only our courage and dedication while we are doing other things. Some people may think that we have no time to practice this message. Actually, it is not true. If we have time to breathe, it means we have time to practice this message. Practicing Dhamma is like breathing. If we have enough time to breathe, it means we have time to practice Dhamma. And for that, I wish you all the best. Please pay your attention to this discourse while you are chanting the Karanimetta Sutta. Please check the meaning of these stanzas, and while you are listening, while you are chanting, every moment, please pay your attention to this discourse meaning. That is very important. That is the great blessing for your life, especially for your education. By the power of these qualities in this discourse, may you all righteous wishes meet with success. Especially, I wish you to succeed your education day by day, and by the power of all these meritorious deeds, may our departed relatives also receive these spiritual energies, and may they enhance their spiritual energy. Finally, may they also attain final bliss of liberation. With that intention, let's share these merits with our departed relatives, reciting the Gatha. Idam me ñāti naṁ hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo. Idam me ñāti naṁ hotu sukhita hontu. Idam me ñāti naṁ hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo. By the power of all these meritorious deeds, may guardian deities and angels also receive this spiritual energy, and may they enhance their divine energy. May they keep their eye on you too. May they also attain final bliss of liberation. With that intention, let's share these merits with guardian deities and angels with reciting the Gatha. Akasatta ca bummatta devanagam puññantang anumoditva cirang rakkantu sasanam. Akasatta ca bummatta devanaga mahiddika puññantang anumoditva cirang rakkantu desanam. Akasatta ca bummatta devanaga mahiddika puññantang anumoditva cirang rakkantu tvang sada. By the power of all these meritorious deeds, may you be well, happy and peaceful. May your all righteous wishes meet with success. Finally, may all of us attain final bliss of liberation. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dukkham pantāca niddukkha Bhayam panta nibbhayam Sokam panta nisoka Hontu sambe pipanino. May the triple gem bless you.